Hello, everyone. My name is Lily, and I'm here today to talk with you about what has happened lately on the East Coast. And you may be familiar with it, but Hurricane Matthew just came through this past week and destroyed many of homes, buildings, ruined lives in many ways. So today, I just feel like there's a need for me and you to brush up on our knowledge about hurricanes and really learn how to prepare when there's a hurricane. To learn about who can we call when we're in the need of some help without power, and also to really just like brush you up on what has taken place. Within this presentation, there's about like 18 slides. Some of the slides have pictures from people who I know different parts of the East Coast, and you can see like what people have done and what the Hurricane Matthew has done too. So I would just like to get on in it. You're welcome to enjoy this presentation and learn with me and discuss these things so that way we can move forward together and remember a very important hurricane that marked history. So here we go. The first slide, I will have it small, but everything else will be big. Here we go. So hurricanes presented by me, Lily. We're going to move on to the next slide now. So I went over the objective already a little bit. So we will cover on one side the different type of windstorms there are, hurricane preparations, when it's hurricane season, who to contact in emergency, where to go and why, and who to keep in contact with. These are important things that we need to know during a natural disaster, because this is what can happen. You may not know that your roads may flood, trees may fall down. It can get pretty bad in a hurricane due to the sustained surface wind speeds. And we'll get more into the categories and the amount of rainfall a little bit more. So, when is hurricane season? According to some research on the East Coast, we have the Southeast and the Mid-Atlantic, as you see on the map. Those were the areas that were primarily affected by Hurricane Matthew in Haiti and Cuba. So, on the Mid-Atlantic, the hurricane season is from June 1st to November 30th, and it's only October, so we have another month to go. So we have to keep in mind that we're in hurricane season. So let's go on. So did you know hurricane season is only mainly during 3 months? I mean, 3 seasons out of the 4 that we have. According to research, winter begins December 21st, spring begins March 20th, summer begins June 20th and 21st of next year, fall begins September 22nd, and these dates can change depending on the orbit of the Earth around the sun. And we must know that. But as of 2016 to 2017, that is when each season begins. And we're currently in fall, and the hurricanes are still here. So here's a fun little question if you haven't already read ahead. What season will hurricanes less likely occur? Well, winter. Winter, it's normally cold. We'll have snowstorms then. For more information on seasons, there's a link there that you can check out. So let's move on to the next slide, why don't we? So when we're in hurricane season, these are the type of hurricane categories that we must be aware of, because depending on our location will determine what we'll experience depending on the hurricane. So recently in Virginia Beach, North Carolina, we received a tropical storm. A little more southeastern, they received the category 4, category 2, 3. So as you can see here, there are categories, 0 through 5. The estimated damage each category can bring, the wind speed, and the wave height, which is like the storm surge. So here in Virginia and in North Carolina, we received the tropical storm. I recall in Virginia Beach we had winds in between like 50 miles per hour and like 70 miles per hour. And those winds caused some damage on like houses, shingles were gone. There are still people without power today. According to the news report today, there are like 3,000 plus people without power, and they should have power by tomorrow. According to Category 4, that's dangerous winds, power outage, water losses. These power outages can last anywhere from weeks to months because of the amount of damage that these strong winds cause to the infrastructure. 130 miles per hour, we barely go down the interstate. But I'm sorry, Florida. Hurricane Matthew really did some damage down there. But as for my area, Virginia really got it bad too. So as we go on, we'll see some pictures that was taken during and after Hurricane Matthew from the Mid-Atlantic region. So let's move on to the next slide. So before we look at the pictures, let's see where to go in the Mid-Atlantic region. Excuse me. If there is a category 5 or 4 or 3 or 2 or 1 or a tropical storm, there will be damage. There will be floods, trees knocked down. So you really want to prepare and know where to go in the event of an emergency. We have public shelters available or public high schools here in the Virginia area. We had Norcom High School and Norview High School and Cox High School open up their schools for shelter. People were invited, and there were transportation numbers that I'll get into further on that you could have contacted to be picked up, and numbers you could have contacted to reach out to. Prior to a hurricane, let's say if you're like in a hurricane watch, you still want to be on the lookout. But if you're in a hurricane warning, you may want to look into your evacuation routes, such as 13 North, 64 West, 264 West, I-64, and some others that aren't up here for South Carolina, such as I-20 going towards Columbia. The main objective is to go inland, right? Because hurricanes come from the water mainly, and the water comes in. So you want to just be far away from the ocean as possible. You can also, for more information, people need to know this because some of the bridges out there were closed. The Chesapeake Bay Bridge, the Monomoy Map was open, I-95 closed, the James River Bridge closed. So you really just don't want to evacuate at the last minute because you run the risk of roadblocks and traffic jams, which is a huge problem. But for more information, if my picture wasn't away, you can look at that link right there. Okay. So let's go into the next slide. This is the effects of Hurricane Matthew. All of this water, as you can see, the Suffolk area, they had up to like 5 feet of water in some areas. There's a mini car there, and the water comes up halfway in between its doors. Another area was in the Virginia Beach Rosemont area, and there's water covering this entire front yard coming up to the stairs. In this location, there were places that water actually came into people's houses, like in the Windsor, Virginia area, and it caused so much damage. It was just unbearable. It was an unbearable amount of damage caused. So having insurance is really important because Hurricane Matthew showed us that it can happen to anyone. So let's move on. By the way, these are pictures from friends of mine. The Suffolk area is from Ray, and the Virginia Beach Rosemont area is from Patty and her brother. So we're going to move on. So this is another clip of what Hurricane Matthew had left behind when it rained. It rained about over 5 inches of rain. We received over 5 inches of rain, and this caused us to have so much water. So let's see how I can play this here. On PowerPoint, it's a lot easier to play. Unfortunately, I can't play it at this time for some reason, but I wish I could. Oh, hey. Um, all right, so this was just a video of Ryan driving through a very flooded neighborhood, which appeared to be in like 3 feet of water or a foot of water. There were water coming up to the signs on the poles. It was pretty bad. So, how to prepare for these type of disasters? Because a lot of us were not prepared. So this is what we need to keep in mind. If we're staying in, of course, we need to have Wi-Fi, which will run if the power did not go out, and that's where you need a generator, flashlight, batteries for your flashlight, food so you can eat just in case you can't get to a shelter, water, because a lot of times water isn't available if the sewage goes out. You need blankets, and just make sure that you can keep your hygiene products close to radio and a cell phone to keep up with the weather. And just if you're traveling, of course, you need jumper cables, hygiene products, plenty of water, your cash, your credit, debit cards, your full tank of gas so you can get to where you're going, a cell phone so you can keep contact with those close to you, like local authorities and people. You also need to have a map or an evacuation route. That is something you need to, as well, just in case you have to make a detour because I-95 is closed or a river has covered a road and you can't go that direction. You need to know your alternate routes, especially if GPS has lost service. You gotta know. Okay, so there's some ways you can prepare. The next slide is if you aren't prepared and you don't have food and your car can't move anywhere, you can make the most out of a situation. This is a funny picture that was sent in to me. Look at these guys right here. They're making the most out of the flood. So after all the rain and the hurricane came through, some people just made humorous jokes about the situation. There's water here, as you can see, 3 guys in a floaty at the Burger King menu, placing an order. I don't know if that is open, but hey, making the most out of the flood. And I wonder who these guys are. Who knows? But this definitely, in my book, was best photo on the bright side. Okay, so let's move on. Who to contact in a flood? Well, or when there is a warning, a hurricane warning, or a hurricane watch. You want to keep in contact with your local authorities. It's okay to pick up the phone. Dial 911 in the event of emergency, like if you're stranded in your car, which some people were. They got stuck. It kept on raining. They thought they could make it out. They couldn't. And the water just kept on rising. Call 911. Call 511 for like traffic information. That number, the 757-838-5000, is the Virginia Beach non-emergency number. So you got to find out the non-emergency number for your area, whether it's Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, North Carolina, Elizabeth City, wherever you are. Now, this is the number. There's normally telephone numbers out there that you can use to contact people to help you get to where you need to go. Car towing companies. And if your power goes out, here is one important number: 1-866-DOM-HELP 4357. If your power goes out, then you can report it. Keep in contact with your friends, your neighbors, and your employees because they want to know what happened to you. You don't want to lose your job. So these are some more pictures of what happened after Saturday. This was Sunday. Okay, there was flooded entrances and exits. People couldn't get out of their homes. If you look closely, there's trees down in the Aragona area, roads blocked off. It's sunny. This is when Hurricane Matthew decided to go out towards the east and the Atlantic. He left us by then with a disaster. So these are some ducks that are happy that the storm's gone. Cars parked up on the curb just to prevent from getting water damage. And that's pretty much it. So here are some of the resources you can contact the National Hurricane Center. Watch your local news. Your local news is important. ABC, Fox News. You can visit .org websites if necessary to find out more information. Everything else is listed in the presentation. You can check out these people too. Like, I'm not the only one talking about the storm. There's people everywhere. You got storm chasers, videos of deep water in the Hampton Roads area. Then there's Meredith. I thought she was hilarious, although she was going through some traumatic situations when she saw the water coming into her house, which is always scary. ABC News, your CNN News, and to learn more about like how Matthew was formed, you could definitely check out Weather War 101. He's a geoengineering skillistic person, and he talks about what could potentially cause hurricanes, whether it be man-made or just natural. He spoke of how like factories and the vapor from those factory machines can cause water vapor to go up into the sky and mix in with the other ones and prevent, uh, potentially create a storm. Well, that's all for now. I was really fast with going over this, but let's just do a quick, 4-minute overview. So here we go. We're going to start from the beginning again. Okay, of course, we have hurricanes, and we learned basically the different type of storms. We have tropical storms all the way up to a category 5, which is the deadliest, which Hurricane Matthew was actually category 5 at first, but so here in Virginia, we experienced tropical storms. Due to the tropical storms, we had flooded roads, tree damage. We had up to 1 to 3 feet storm surges. That's when the water from the ocean comes up out of the ocean onto the surface, and the rain on top of the wet ground just builds up water. So you never really just want to drive in the water, no matter if it's a tropical storm or not, because the waters can rise quickly. We had flooded roads in areas. Here, large trucks could make it. Some large trucks can't. Certain areas were not affected. But for the ones that were affected, there is serious cleanup that's needed. You can contact 1-866 DOM help if your power is out so that they can fix it. Call your non-emergency number or 211. 211 is a number you can call for services such as food pantries or shelters, or just if you need some information about what local activities and organizations we have around here for your aid. We talked about the different type of categories. So keep in mind, every time you watch the news, and if during hurricane season there's a hurricane, take heed, be prepared. You don't want to lose your house. Okay? If you go to nationalhurricanecenter.com, it will show you the amount of damage wind can do to your house in each of these levels, each of these categories. Category 4, you might just want to really evacuate. Know your evacuation routes because your house will be completely ruined. You won't have anything to stand for, and you just might die. Speaking of passing away, my prayers just want to go out to the people right now who are in Haiti, who are cleaning up right now, those who lost loved ones in this storm. It's something we can't control. But there's one thing we can do. We can prepare. Like the governor said of Florida, he said, get out while you can because we can't save you. So it's good to just evacuate if you can. Know the routes to take to get to safety, to protect yourself and your family in the event of a hurricane. You really just want to make sure you're prepared and you know where to go, who to talk to, and when hurricane season is. You got to know what you need as well. Be prepared. Don't let it sneak up on you, and before you know, you're flooded and you can't go anywhere. Make sure you have insurance on your house and your possessions. Insurance will save you tons of money in the end. you just really gotta be prepared for the hurricanes. Well, I'm out. Hope you all have a great night. I look forward to talking to you again. Talk to me, share some pictures with me, give me some feedback. Let's discuss this so that way we can make other people aware of the services that are available and the help that you can possibly add onto your list of things to look at when you're trying to escape a natural disaster, or at least know what's going on in your community. Well, that's it. Goodbye now.